I love being a dad for a lot of reasons. I love being a dad because of being able to see the unique personalities and gifts of each of my kids reminds me of how creative God is. I love being a dad because of how it challenges me to expand and to explore intimacy and grace in ways that I didn't know I needed. I love being a dad because it teaches me. My children are some of the deepest wells I know. Truthfully, it's kind of startling. But my goodness, each one of them teaches me about God and about how to approach life and love in their own unique ways. Some of them through their actions, some of them through their quiet processing, and some of them, like my daughter, through just lines that pierce my heart in a very unique way. Ever since my daughter was a little girl, her and I would go out on little dates. I mean, and it started back in the day as just a way to connect. But as she got older, I thought, this is probably good for us to keep doing because I want her to know how a man should treat her, how he should cherish her, how he should pursue her, even on something as simple as a meal. Recently, though, we added a different element. We go to the same place here in Joplin, Missouri, Del Rio, every single date. I don't even have to ask her anymore. Literally, we just get in the car, start talking, and we end up in the parking lot of Del Rio. We're inside. We have our chips going with our cup of queso. She's ordered her fajito or whatever it's called, and I've ordered my enchiladas without even thinking. But we added an element where we are now both reading a book together. And then we sit down at the meal and we process different insights that each of us were struck by. Recently, the book that we're going through is a book called Pilgrimage of a Soul by my spiritual director named Felina Huritz. It's a powerful book, and I'm not going to go into all the details of it, but there is 2 chapters in it, chapters 3 and 4. In chapters 3 and 4, they talk about darkness and death. Not exactly uplifting conversation starters with your daughter. And yet, this may have been one of the more memorable conversations we ever had. For there were 2 lines my daughter said that at the age of 15, something in her clicked that even for me at the age of 39, I've not totally grasped yet. At one point, sitting over her, chips and queso, she said, "Dad, so death leads to transformation. It doesn't conclude one path, but it's a milestone." A matter of fact, actually, it struck me so much, I wrote it down, and I have it typed on a screen right up here so I wouldn't forget it. My goodness, death is a milestone. As another movement of transformation. She said it. I put down my chip and went, huh. And then she followed it up with this doozy. She says, there's not a point in fearing death because through Jesus' death, death's already been defeated. And I said, yeah. She said, so death isn't the end. It's more like an extended pause. I said, good grief, honey. That is profound. That's helpful. And I had this part of me where I was going like, wow, that insight into death helps me approach death in a way in which I hadn't been able to before. And it reminded me of a passage in a song. The passage, the one that I actually came across again this morning, comes from Luke chapter 9. It's right after Jesus predicts his death in verses 21 and 22. And in verse 23, Jesus says this: "Whoever wants to be my disciple must," this isn't a negotiation, "they must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross. And I love that Luke adds this word in his gospel: daily, and follow me. This passage gives the very heartbeat of discipleship and following Christ. And this passage is dripping with death. One of my absolute favorite lyricists, songwriters, is a guy by the name of John Foreman. Now, he's also the lead singer of a band called Switchfoot. But John Foreman also has some solo albums that he's put out, one for each season of life. He calls it autumn and winter and summer and spring. And on his album Winter, he has a song on there called Learning How to Die. And the song is a conversation between him and some woman that seems to be on her deathbed. He tells her in the opening verse that he's going to miss her when she's gone. And she said, "I love you. I'm going to miss hearing your songs." And then John immediately then responds. He says, "Please don't talk about the end. Don't talk about how every living thing goes away. Don't talk about death." And then the chorus is his friend's response. His friend who is staring into the face of the long pause. She says, "Friend, all along, I thought I was learning how to take. I thought I was learning how to bend, not how to break, how to laugh, not how to cry. But really, I've been learning how to die." Daily, Christ calls us to learn how to die to ourselves, to our demands, to our desires, to our rights. Every single day, we have an opportunity to step one step closer to the milestone. Every day we have an opportunity to learn how to unite with Jesus in life by learning how to die. So that when we get to the deathbed, like John Foreman's friend, we won't be staring into the face of a stranger, but we will be staring into the face of an enemy that was transformed into a teacher by the death and resurrection of Jesus. We will be staring into the face of a companion that has taunted and haunted people in some people's lives. But for us Christians, freed by the grace of Christ, we will be looking into the face of an intimate friend. For in Jesus, by God's grace, each day, we have the ability to learn how to die. I love you guys. Have a good week.